Hello students and welcome to Math Weekly number 2. In this Math Weekly, our focus skill will be on scatter plots and correlations. Let's begin with what is a scatter plot. And there at the bottom you see an example of a graph which is called a scatter plot. A scatter plot is a type of graph that displays a relationship between two sets of numeric data. As you can see, we have height and weight on this chart. Each dot on a scatter plot is an individual in a population. So if you count how many dots there are, that would tell you how many individuals were surveyed within the scatter plot sampling. So let's move on to correlation, which is a new word for you. Correlation is a description of the relationship between two sets of numeric data. There are three main types of correlation: no correlation, a negative correlation, and a positive correlation. If you're looking at a graph, no correlation looks like dots spewed every which way. Negative correlation looks like the dots are moving downward, and a positive correlation looks like the dots are moving upward. Now let's talk about what each one really means. No correlation means that there's no relationship between the two numeric quantities. So for example, there is no relationship between the number of siblings you have and the number of books you have in your house. Your number of siblings doesn't make you have more books, or it doesn't make you necessarily have less books. There's no effect there. A negative correlation means that one value increases, then the other one will decrease. So for example, the more peanut butter you eat out of the jar, the less the jar weighs in total. So you can see they're going in opposite directions. The more you eat, the less it weighs. That's a negative correlation. And the last type is a positive correlation. Positive correlation means that one value increases and the other one will as well. So for example, there is a positive correlation between the temperature outside and the number of people who go to a swimming pool. The higher the temperature gets, the more people will go to the swimming pool. The opposite is true as well. They decrease together. The lower the temperature, the less people that go swimming. Correlations can also be strong or weak. A strong correlation has points that are closely grouped together, nearly linear. So you can see in this first example, these dots are really close together. They're not perfectly straight, but you can see that there is a consistent pattern to them. And in the second one, you have a weak correlation. They are showing a direction, but they're more spread out from each other. And here we have another example of a strong correlation. This one's a strong negative correlation. So let's summarize what we've learned in this Math Weekly. A scatter plot is a graph that displays a relationship between two sets of numeric data. Correlation is a description of the relationship between two sets of numeric data, and there can be no correlation, a positive correlation, or a negative correlation to describe the trends of the relationship.